Alright guys, back at it with a new video. We got the blacktop coils on an absolute pickup of a LKQ junkyard run this morning. Got the ZZP manifold in, you saw that in the last video. Picked up these studs. These are Dorman. I'll show you the spec. They're a little bit too long, but I don't want to grind them down. And basically, since there's no room in this cavity between here and the back of the engine and the firewall, we're gonna have to just put one thing in at a time. So here's the hot side of the turbo. Gonna put that in, fit up the downpipe, a little 90-degree elbow, see if that fits. But one thing at a time. Here is the hardware. This is that set of studs, Dorman. These are M10, 1.5, 62 millimeters long studs. I tried to order a different set of hardware, but unfortunately they're a little shorter. Unfortunately, they were not, the thread pitch was different. These are a lot more fine, you can see, than the studs that are ended up on. Here's actually one of the studs that the Dorman ones I just showed you. A little bit bigger. On the good news, we do have some shorter, these are the old banjo bolts. The new ones I just put on the turbo here. These ones were too long, so they were bottoming out on the, they weren't, these were just spinning. These fittings were just spinning because the bolts were bottoming out into this metal, housing. So these banjos are a little bit shorter. I'll link those as well here, or I'll show you where I got those on Amazon. These were another Amazon pickup. Those were the sizes that I mentioned in the last video. I think they're 14 millimeters and then 9/16. I can't remember exactly, but I'll clarify those as well. So all Amazon finds. This came in one of the original kits. That's oil feed. Here's oil drain on this side. But yeah, we got a couple parts. Got to rebuild the turbo, like I said, in the car. Try this 90-degree downpipe. But let's get going. Here's a gasket for the T3 manifold. But without further ado, let's get this dang harness on here. Let's get this car running. Let's get after it. All right, gang, check this out. Wow. For the better part of an afternoon, we are getting somewhere. GTX 3582, 44 millimeter wastegate, knockoff tile, dump tube right there, somehow fitting. 90-degree downpipe with a flex portion coming off that 3-inch hot side of the turbo. These lines are looking pretty ugly. This stud down here is an issue. It's kind of hitting on that return banjo bolt for the coolant right in there. I have to figure out a solution for that. I'm going to probably just clock this. I'll show you guys around a little bit. So that's top side. We're able to go to the junkyard, get some blacktop coils, borrowing an ECU. Roughly, or at least temporarily, hooked everything up for a little bit of a mess. This is the boost gauge, so ignore that on the top. But ECU relocation, you guys have already seen that. Battery's not in yet. Battery box is not in. Still missing headlights. Zoom out a little bit for you. But F40 still got to fill with fluid. A couple odds and ends. Need to get the coolant overflow bottle back in. But this is from this side, the setup. So yeah, the dump tube kind of running just randomly through there. The downpipe is not hitting anything, which is good. But let me go to the bottom side of the car. All right, here we go. Front side of the car. I am using the stock charge pipe. So this side doesn't have a nipple on it that kind of holds it in position to that boot, so that's good. But on this side, the factory to the turbo side, there was a nipple that I had to grind down on the collar there. You can actually see that nipple sticking out. There was one where now the silicone, so that little nipple right there, there was the same thing where the blue silicone now sits that I had to grind off with the grinder, just FYI. So this is a 2.5 to 2-inch silicone adapter. So 2.5 coming off the cold side of the turbo, 2 to connect to the factory charge pipe. Some other things. So this is the dump tube from the bottom side. This is the inside of the downpipe. As you can see, there's the mess of, this is the oil return actually. So oil return is into the block there. And then let's disconnect right now just so we can clock the turbo still. But that runs to then the bottom of the turbo right through there. And then that is the stud and banjo bolt interference for the return coolant line that we're having an issue with. But this gives you a really good understanding of kind of the undercarriage or what's going on down here. And then let me see if I can find the other coolant. So the coolant feed line is over here. I'm going to have to get a better view for you. But let's go back to the, where you can see something. Get a different angle for you. Oh. Just some quick before startup thoughts. So hooked up the MAF sensor just so, I mean, obviously we have a total disconnect here, so definitely throw some codes. Probably just go straight into limp mode, honestly. These go to the cold side of the factory turbo, into the wastegate of the factory turbo. So we will see, I would assume then we would route them to our external. Still got some piping, or I guess some tubing and boost control setup to do. Definitely have I need to do some research before connecting anything. Probably will do a manual boost controller as opposed to, or mechanical boost controller as opposed to an electronic, just so it's less back and forth tuning with the tuner. I was talking to Mechanize a little bit. But yeah, here's the top side. Just kind of see the layout. You can see the screamer tube or dump tube, and then the downpipe, which we still need to do. And then this is the coolant feed line. Banjo, you can just see it peeking out from behind that coolant line, or the rubber line. All right, guys. We had a slight little hiccup last week, so sorry for the delay in the starting video, but we got a new oil pan, as Justin is showing there. We decided to crack the oil pan by putting one of the motor mounts in upside down. So I'll put that snippet in here, watch the oil, all the brand new Euro, whatever it is, 5W40 that we put in, drain out. So you'll see that quickly, but we got everything back in. Obviously got to put the battery, coolant overflow. We're going to pull I'm about to do a time lapse for you guys. We're going to pull the wastegate. This is kind of a test fit. The banjos are still sliding around a bit, and we got to fasten the lower oil drain line. But we're going to time lapse you guys. We're going to put oil in this bad boy. I got to flash the T8 ECU here with Trionic can flasher and match the VIN, and then hopefully we can start this bad boy up. All right, guys, some quick details for the banjo bolts. This is the oil input for the turbo. I don't want a banjo coming off the side. It's just because it's clustering the coolant lines on either side. However, I only have one of these fittings, which I would need those threads. You guys can, I would need those threads on either side, and I have one of these that has the finer threads on that side. So fortunately, because that would just go straight down and that'd be nice, something like that. But I don't have that option right now. So we are going to have to bring, and also I'm not positive, but I do believe you're supposed to use this banjo that has the smaller hole for the oil feed line for the turbo, because you don't want a full open feed line feeding the turbo, just max oil. But Love your input on that. Drop a comment below if you have any feedback. So yeah, that's the current setup. We're going to do this on top, if I could grab it. Sec. Or this for the oil input. I'm also going to, the reason I have this compressor housing off, much easier to go ahead and torque these banjo down. I'm going to go to 25 foot-pound on these. I have 25 foot-pound for the drain line down here. So 25, 25. I'm just going to do 25 for all the banjos all the way around, and then the lower drain line. The reason we have this off in pieces is because, as you've seen, it's much easier to get everything in. Compressor housing, obviously the exhaust housing is down there already in, and then we grind it off 2 of the studs on the manifold because we were hitting when we were clocking this. So hopefully that gives you some good insight. I've already shared the sizes of all these, but I will double check for you and hopefully put them here. But let's get back to it. All right, guys, there's a final product. This is going in. This will be the orientation. Oil intake, oil down to the block, the return line. These banjos face downward for the coolant. We had one facing up. This will be towards the firewall. This will be towards the engine. But based on what we're reading, it's better to have both of them coming up and then the turbo at a slight, or you want the coolant to flow slightly upward. So it'll, if that's even, it'll be slightly, if that's even, slightly angled up like that. But turbo basically will be clocked wherever we can get it clocked at. But that's the setup. All right, guys, POV from in the car. This is Tronic can flasher. All I'm doing is, since we put a new ECU in this, I am just flashing my arc VIN and key data, as well as the stage 1 that I tuned that I had on here. I don't have the new tune for this new hardware setup yet, so I'm just gonna flash the old stage 1 on here, but the VIN and key data, that's the most important thing to marrying a new ECU. You don't need the Tech 2 when you're dealing with the T8 because Tronic can flasher makes it work. So right now you can see it's erasing the existing data on the ECU, and then it's flashing the new data. Alrighty then, it's been a labor of love with this thing. Let me tell you, I thought we were going to start this thing about 3 weeks ago. Here we are, almost a month later. We had the oil pan little hiccup. That set us back a little bit, but turbo's in. So I still got to figure out an intake setup. I think I have to do a 3-inch. I do have the Buick MAF sitting up here. So I got to figure out an intake solution, and all the tuners, mechanized, and another guy I've been talking to. I think I'm going to do a 3-inch, so I'll just have a filter, 3-inch, use the Buick MAF, which has higher reading capabilities than this one. That's why you got to swap it over, and then I'll just have an L there. So I'll figure out that next, but everything's installed. I have no vacuum or no boost line plumbed for the wastegate at all. It's running on, I think, the 11-pound spring. So there's nothing hooked up to this. We're just going to fire it over for you. Without further ado, we got water in here. Oil's filled up. Just filled up the power steering fluid. I just flashed the Tronic gate. Let's give this thing a go. Here we go. All right, let's give this another go. Fighting battery issues. Thought it was a starter. Swapped the starter. A bunch of BS. Put you up here. Start this bad boy. Damn battery. We need more powerful batteries. All right, round 3 starting up. Here we go. New battery. It smells like we just started our riding lawnmower in the garage.
Yeah, boys.
Exactly what it smells like.
No cat with no exhaust smells.
There you guys go. Let's go.
Shout out to
Next up, we're taking it for a drive. Here we go. It's a nice change of scenery. Automatic Turbo X in the garage. That's our next project. Needs a head gasket. So that's the next garage project. A little smoky from all that coolant bleeding off. But there's Derek Lewis, the 2.0 race car build. We're going to take it for a spin and give you guys some footage. Let's go. Get the whole car. fuel cut at like 2,000 and drives pretty horribly. So we'll get the vacuum lines all hooked up. We'll get a proper intake. We'll get a real exhaust. We'll be back to you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Let's go.
I'll do one last. This is just for us. This is for video. This is proof that I told Josh that it wouldn't die past 2K. This is proof. No, it's starting to pull a little pretty good, but then yeah, just